What's up, everybody? I'm your host, a lipstick tube who lives in a boob now. And that is my co-host, the weird girl from history class who is into witchcraft and stuff. And welcome to the Grindhouse Syndicate, where we continue our all-month-long Halloween special episodes, where the movies we pick have something to do with Halloween. And this week, we got a story that takes place at a Halloween party on Halloween night. Can't get much more Halloween than that.
No, this is one of those more realistic Halloween parties. You always get the really awesome Halloween parties in movies that you're like,
It's like 100 people.
yeah,
They're all in costumes, all in good costumes.
It's like a fucking like awesome band playing, like
Yep.
the Offspring's up there playing or something. What is that from?
Idle Hands. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, but this one's more realistic. Like, 10 people got together at a party in a house.
Yep. It's an 80s cult classic. If you haven't seen this yet, watch it. Especially if you like 80s horror. It's really fun. It's really Halloween. It's got a scary old house. You have most certainly seen the movie poster. I think the movie poster is pretty famous. But I have been wanting to do this movie on the show for a long time. But I've been saving it for October, and it is finally time.
It is finally that fucking time of year. Thank God we made it to another October.
So on this episode, we are covering Night of the Demons from 1988, the year of my birth. This is a first time watch for you?
It is.
All right.
This movie has eluded me for a while. Definitely very much 1988. It is 80s to the max.
I have been really excited to hear what you think about the movie. I'm excited to talk about the movie. I rented this movie so many fucking times back in the day. Like, I think I first seen it, if I can remember right, I think I first seen it when I was like 7 or 8. And I think I want to say I seen it on like TV. Not like we didn't rent it. I think I seen it on TV first. But I could be wrong because I remember the boob scenes. So I don't know. I don't know how I would have seen it on TV, but we did rent it a bunch. So and this movie has lived rent-free in my head since then.
It's a good one. It is it's got a fucking lipstick boob tube.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a little jealous you got the introduction. You got to be the lipstick boob. But yes, very, very much, you could almost guess watching it that it was made in 1988.
Yeah.
I just recently watched Jason Takes Manhattan, and I almost want to do like a side-by-side comparison of what's more 1988.
Yeah.
They're both very 80s.
You remember Chucky came out 1988 as well. And then there was another movie I want to say we somewhat recently did that was 1988, and we were talking about how like stacked that year was with horror.
Yeah. Chucky though has that like very dark. It's 80s. It's like It's got that 80s action horror to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I specifically mentioned Jason Takes Manhattan just because you remember how 80s that is, like with the 80s music,
Super
and
80s.
the fucking hairspray hair, like out, 6 inches away from your hair. It's all hairsprayed up. They even have a flying V guitar.
That's what I was about to say. They have a lady who carries around a guitar and an amp and just gets a guy to record her as she like does solos with no more band, no other band members, no singing, just her ripping solos on a video camera.
Yeah.
That's fucking 80s as hell.
Yeah, and then the whole like the disco dance floor on the boat.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get much more 80s than that. It's not even a big boat.
Do you think that the person just like ripping 80 guitar solos by themselves is like the 80s equivalent of like somebody just like getting videotaped like rapping on a street corner?
Yeah.
Is that our equivalent now?
Yeah, maybe my like high school's generation of like rapping. Everybody wanting to be a rapper.
The guy like with the pencil like doing the beats on the table and the other guy rapping.
Uh-huh.
That yeah, I agree. So with that being said, let's talk about Night of the Demons.
Hello, boys and ghouls. If you want to stay up to date on what's going on with the show, talk about or submit your movie requests, or just say die, then I got good news for you. You can always find us at one of our social media accounts or our official website at Grindhouse.Horror.Pod.com, Facecrook at the Grindhouse Syndicate Horror Podcast, Instascam at grindhousesyndicate.horror.pod, and many gore, which you can always find links for in the show notes as always. And you know what I always say, the morgue, the merrier. So please subscribe or follow for alerts on new episodes. Now, back to the show, kiddies. Frights, camera, action.
And if you really love us and don't want us to have to resort to baking fudge logs and selling them to keep the show going, give us a review.
Not those fudge logs.
Oh, man.
Not those little.
I can't wait to talk about those.
Little poodle turds. It's funny. We had the Tales from the Crypt intro. This movie, actually, it's very Tales from the Crypt. Like, it has a super Tales from the Crypt vibe. The house and the setting is super Tales from the Crypt, even down to the ending. That's the little surprise ending.
Yeah. I agree. I didn't really pick up on that, but that is a good point. Because we talked about it before. My favorite episode of Tales from the Crypt is where they go to the house and they try to send the new guys up and see if they can survive this haunted house, and they keep disappearing, and finally you find out it's these vampire chicks or whatever the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah. So Night of the Demons is a 1988 American supernatural horror film directed by Kevin Tenney, written and produced by Joe Augustin, and starring Amelia Kincaid, Kathy Podwell, Linnea Quigley, Hal Havens, and Alvin Alexis. The plot follows a group of high school students who throw a party inside an isolated funeral parlor on Halloween night. While attempting a seance, they accidentally release a demon locked in a crematorium that begins to possess them one by one. The movie was originally named Halloween Party and was filmed in Los Angeles in 1987. So the reason that the name was changed was actually because the people who own the rights to Halloween called and demanded they change it. Yeah.
Do you know there was actually a second title I seen for this, a second attempt at a title, and it was even worse. It was really bad.
I think I come across it. What was it again?
It was Halloween Boogie.
Yeah, so
thank God that didn't happen. I don't think we'd be doing this episode.
No, they actually incorporated that into the third one somehow. I can't remember how, but so it premiered in Detroit in September of 1988 and was actually not released nationally, and instead had a regional release. It had a budget of a little over $1 million and a box office of $3.1 million, which is pretty good considering it didn't get released everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, when you triple your investment, that's pretty good.
Though it received a mixed critical response, the film would later become a cult classic in the years since its release, where it eventually spawned 2 sequels as well as a 2009 remake of the same name. I did not know there was a remake.
No, me neither. That's the first I've heard of that. What year was it?
2009.
2009?
Yeah.
Huh. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't make the remake. If Blumhouse didn't announce that they're doing a trilogy remake of this entire trilogy.
Yeah, I gotta look the remake up.
And David Gordon Green is gonna direct it, and it's gonna be so bad that after the first one they have to throw the whole fucking movie away.
Okay, so I am looking at it. Wow, Edward Furlong is in it. Monica Keena, who is the final girl from Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, I like her.
Shannon Elizabeth is in it. Wow.
They must have spent a lot of money making a movie that nobody's ever heard of.
I'm looking at the cover, and the cover's boring.
Oh, you can't blow the
no.
cover.
The demon looks CGI.
You know what? I was about to say they're gonna CGI the fuck out of it because 2009 was the time. Yeah, that's pretty bad. 2009 was that time where they were CGIing everything from like 2000 on. They tried to replace all practical effects with CGI. Thank God we're getting in a time now where practical effects are coming back and they're becoming a staple of movies. Yeah, that's just a case of bad timing.
What a bummer, man.
You know, that's what makes, and this was the first time watch for me, but it's very clear that what makes this movie and the crown jewels of this movie is the makeup and the special effects.
So
And to turn around and CGI that in the remake is similar to what they did with the Thing, where they, went in and after the Thing,
Yeah.
they went in and CGI'd everything.
yeah, I don't know why his name isn't coming to my head right now, but the special effects. So this was his first movie. It was not his first movie that he worked on. He had done special effects for like a Ghostbusters and like a bunch of other movies, but he had started his own. I think he was like 25. He had basically borrowed all the money he could to start his own business, and this was his first job. And there is a lot of interesting stuff that he talks about if you watch the Scream Factory documentary on this.
Do you know if he did the makeup effects too?
Yeah, he did it all.
Yeah,
Every bit of it. It was just him by himself.
definitely one of the better parts for sure.
So Republic Pictures purchased the VHS home video rights for the film in May 1989. Anchor Bay Entertainment released it to DVD in 2004. And Scream Factory released a Blu-ray DVD combo pack collector's edition on February 4th of 2014. All right, so ratings. Rotten Tomatoes, 43%.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that got 43%
yeah.
on Rotten.
Oh.
That's pretty good.
IMDb gave it a 6.1 out of 10, Letterboxd a 3.1 out of 5, and 89% of Google users like this movie. That's up there.
Yeah, 89% is. It's up there.
Yeah, I gotta take a breath for this one. If you would like to watch this movie, you can currently find it streaming for free on Peacock, Pluto TV, Roku Channel, Plex, Tubi, Sling TV, Redbox, and Amazon Prime. So, pretty fucking easy to find.
We got the return of Tubi. I feel like it's been a while. The first, I don't know,
like 5 movies, maybe.
2 or 3 months of the show, I feel like everything we did was Tubi, and it became a running joke on the show. And I feel like Tubi just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I feel like they're now starting to get a pretty good selection back again, though. But so we start. Oh well, wow! I jumped right into that a little early.
Yes, I'm ready to go and do the plot.
Okay. So we start off by meeting 3 of our main characters who are riding around town in a spray painted car on Halloween night with a pumpkin strapped to the roof. Honestly, I kind of want to go strap a pumpkin to my roof.
Well, if
That's
you
cool.
drive this car, you could strap anything to the roof, drill some holes and strap it down, whatever you need to do. This is not, just doesn't, you're not going to mess up the paint job on this one.
It's, no, I think it's pretty much all spray paint. So we have Roger in the backseat who is dressed as a pirate. Then we have Stooge who is driving the car and apparently his costume is a pig. And finally we have Stooge's girlfriend Helen. And FYI, Stooge treats Helen like absolute garbage.
Yeah, I did a count of the times that he calls her a bitch in this movie. He is a bastard.
Yeah, he has domestic violence written all over him.
Yeah. You skipped the really awesome, really long intro that we get The 80s intro to it.
Oh, you're talking about the animation?
Yeah, the cool ass animation with the Halloween orange letters. Very
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah, so I do have a little bit of a story with the animation. So, the woman who actually designed the animation, she worked for Disney, and she had worked there a long time, and she was known as the horror queen around Disney because she did all the animations for all of Disney's villains. Like, she did, like, Ursula. She worked on, Jafar from, Aladdin. So she was all about doing evil, bad characters. And they came to her and wanted her to design it, and she designed this really cool. I think the first ever design was like that demon, but you could see his bones or whatever chasing, like flying through the air. But yeah, she was technically working for Disney at the time, and she did this because they basically gave her like, here, just come up with something cool and creepy. Which Disney tells her what to draw, but she got to actually create with this project.
What's really cool, it's very much like, what's the 80s horror meets like Scooby-Doo animation meets Disney. But it's very, very, very long too. I was surprised. I was like, wow, this is going on for a while. I did actually hear, do you have anything in your facts about this intro at the end?
No.
Okay. So I did actually hear something interesting. So that wasn't the original intro. The original intro was supposed to be like a priest blessing the audience,
Oh,
the
yeah,
movie watchers.
That was in the screenplay, actually.
And they end up scrapping that for whatever reason.
So they scrapped it because the writer had put that in there, and he was also a producer, and the director came in and he thought it was too cheesy. So he removed it. Plus, they had a very limited budget, and he was just he was kind of cutting some corners from what he could. Because he originally didn't want the animated intro in it either. He didn't want to spend the money on it. So, but yeah, he cut it because it was, what he said, corny. But as they are driving, they spot an elderly man walking down the sidewalk carrying some groceries. And Stooge makes Helen take the wheel. So, did you hear that? Take the wheel.
No, I didn't catch that.
All right. But damn. But as they are driving, they spot an elderly man. I can't get through it now. Oh, fuck. But as they are driving, they spot an elderly...
Did you smoke some weed?
No, I can't do it. Oh, fuck.
There's a fucking old guy on the side of the road. That's all you need to know. He's an asshole.
Yeah, but as they are driving, they spot an elderly fuck, man. Okay, he's carrying some fucking groceries, and Stooge makes Helen take the I don't know what we're gonna do. Oh man, so he fucking moons the elderly guy as he drives past, man. I don't know how the rest of this is gonna go. So this old guy, of course, he gets pissed and he pulls out the damn kids. Yeah, it's a classic line. I'm glad they put it in there. Speaking of classic, we didn't get that famous, like, the shaky POV shot.
The Michael Myers POV. Yeah.
As someone runs up behind the old man, scaring him with a fake rat. The man drops his groceries in shock, and when the perpetrator is revealed to be a teenage boy, he does the famous old man fist shake and says, "You son of a bitch." And this teenage boy is another one of our main characters, Sal, who is kind of like one of those, I would describe him like the New York Italian guy.
He's New York's worst.
He looks like his name would be Benny, and
or Vinny.
Or Vinny. He's in like one of the West Side Story gangs. He carries one of those switchblade combs.
Yeah.
Like switches it out and then he slicks his hair back with it.
He definitely chews some bubble gum.
His uncle runs a chop shop in Brooklyn. He works part-time at his parents' pizza shop.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yep.
you get Italian restaurant.
I think
He's trying to get in with the mob. He's working his way up as a server.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job describing him.
Yeah, he sucks.
So Sal Sal takes off, and we see this old man picking up his stuff when he is suddenly scared again by a stranger from behind. He quickly turns around to see a teenage girl who apologizes for scaring him and saying she was just offering to help.
And he calls her a whore.
He calls her a teenage whore.
I'm like, good God, man, this guy's why her?
Yeah, and he basically tells her to fuck off. And this girl is another one of our main characters. This is sweet and innocent Judy. But yeah, the old man is like, fuck those damn rotten kids, and
This old man might pull out an AK-47 and start just cutting these kids down.
he hates youth.
He does.
He hates youth.
He I don't if he has grandkids, he has nothing to do with them.
No. So as he's picking up his groceries, he says that they will get what they deserve as he picks up some apples and a pack of razor blades. I believe we discussed this last year around the same time when we did Trick or Treat.
Yeah, this was a big thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Thinking people were putting razor blades and shit in candy. Also, I think our generation was drugs. I think we talked about that last year.
We did.
Our generation's drugs was the 80s generation's, like,
Of
putting
blades.
razor blades in your kids' candy. Which is funny because it all stems from the only recorded time that this ever happened was when a kid's candy was poisoned, and they found out that it was his dad who poisoned his own kid's candy to kill him.
His dad was this old guy.
Yes, I could believe it.
Yeah, I remember we got older and we were like, who the fuck would give out free drugs to kids? Like, that's expensive.
I was a fucking kid thinking that, like a teenager. Like, why is somebody gonna pay all this money for some THC gummies to give them out to your fucking kids?
I wonder what it is now. Is it like fentanyl? It's the fentanyl. Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but
Putting
watch
fentanyl
out.
in the candy.
All it takes is a pinhead drop of fent.
Yeah.
Drop your kid dead.
This is a Snicker bars, and this is a grain of fent that would kill you. So we then follow Judy home, where we find out that she is waiting for a call from her boyfriend Jay about a Halloween dance that they are supposed to go to. Her mom then tells her that Sal called looking for her, which Judy's like, ew, fuck him. We do find out later that Sal is kind of obsessed with Judy, but she has no interest in going out with him again. But soon after, Jay calls and Judy gets on the phone where he tells her, fuck going to a lame-ass school dance, he's taking her to a real party, which is being thrown by the weird girl, Angela, who is into witchcraft and that kind of stuff. Sounds like my kind of lady.
Not only thrown by the cool witchcraft chick, but also in a creepy-ass house.
Yeah. He also tells her the party is at a place called Hull House, which is pretty much the known creepy abandoned house that like everybody knows about. I think all towns have at least like one of these where like Old Man Johnson killed his whole family and then disappeared or some shit. There's always like a story that goes along with it.
I feel like it's always just movie towns, though. I don't think we've ever lived in a town where there was like a house that was like, don't go near that house.
We did. There was once we lived where there was a burnt down house down the street. And there was always stories about how it burned down and people died in there.
And we would go down in there at night and do dumb shit. Because there was the only thing that was left of this house was the basement.
Yeah. And it was weird because like all their shit was in there still burnt. Remember the piano?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was the exit. Had to get up on the piano. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't a house. That was what used to be a house.
Okay.
I can't think of any time that we lived in a town where there was like an old creepy, like super creepy house. There was the time whenever I was a teenager, there was that house that was supposedly like possessed and all the people left their shit and took off, which teenage me, not adult me, so I'm not held accountable, but we did break in there. And not break in, we just used a card to slip past the lock.
That's
and
breaking in.
It did have a bunch of stuff in it. You were there.
Oh, I do remember
Yeah, I was
that.
about to
Yeah,
say, good God.
that was actually a nice house.
But it was a nice house. That's what I'm saying. It's never like creepy. Like that would have been a better story had it been the house next door to us. That was like one of these houses. It was abandoned and
Yeah,
falling
yeah.
apart. But no cool story with that one.
So, despite Judy's protest, Jay convinces her to go and tells her to get ready because he will pick her up in 20 minutes. So, we got a bunch of dumb teenagers, a haunted house, and Halloween. 3 of my favorite horror things all together wrapped into one. It's safe to say we are off to a good start. So, Judy then gets jump scared by her brother in a mask who was hiding in her closet. And I just want to say, he was sitting in there watching his sister the whole time, and she was partly naked for most of that phone call. And when she opens the closet door, she is in her bra, which you can kind of see through.
Yeah, you can definitely see through. I think he even makes a comments about her knockers.
And I'm like,
That's creepy.
Yeah, because remember, like, she takes like her pants and underwear off and she's standing there on the phone. She's like a foot away from him.
He was really dedicated towards the scare.
Yeah.
You would think he would have been like, wait, I was hiding in here to scare you,
Yeah,
but
nope.
let me get out.
Yeah, this is just weird. So the doorbell rings and Judy's little brother answers it. Turns out it is Sal who is looking for Judy. The kid then tells him that Judy is getting ready to go to a party with her boyfriend Jay. Sal then convinces the kid to tell him where the party is, and he tells him it is at Hull House. So next we jump on over to a convenience store where we see a teenage girl dressed like Bo Peep bending over looking at something while the 2 cashiers stare at her ass. It is pretty obvious that she is doing this on purpose. And we then jump on over to another teenage girl who is stealing a bunch of snacks and alcohol for the party. The cashier, that looks like Stephen King.
He does. They look like young Stephen King.
He is sweating a lot. Like,
He was really wanting to make sure that she was going to choose the right laundry detergent.
you know, like does he just like start pouring sweat when he's like turned on? Like why is he so sweaty?
I don't know. I would.
Gross.
I mean, it's a good distraction. It is if you're trying to get somebody's attention, but
I don't think I would sweat that.
yeah,
like that,
I would.
though.
I would immediately. Matter of fact, before they even showed any of the rest of the movie, like what the distraction was for, I was like, well, this is clearly done on purpose.
Yeah.
Like she's literally looking at laundry detergent.
Yeah, he's marinating in his own sweet juices.
Ugh, that's gross.
So the 2 girls then meet outside after the theft, and we have 2 more main characters. The slutty Bo Peep girl is Suzanne, and her best friend is Angela, who is the one throwing the party, and the weird girl who is into witchcraft and stuff. And her costume is awesome, and it actually becomes a staple of this franchise. So she is wearing an all-black wedding dress with black lace on the arms, crosses for earrings, and a silver tiara. So we then jump back on over to Judy's house where we see that Jay has arrived and is waiting in the living room for her. I don't know if you caught this or not, but on the TV is a cartoon. And this is a real cartoon about a group of flies who get trapped in a haunted house by a spider, and the spider like kills off the flies like one by one.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a cool cartoon.
Yeah. But Judy's little brother comes in, and I fucking hate him.
Yeah, this little kid's a shit, man. I don't like Sal either, for the record. Sal's a fucking douche, but this little kid sucks.
Yeah.
Like he's a douche to everybody.
Yes.
Like, literally everybody, even his mom.
Yep. So originally, he was supposed to sneak into the Hull House for the party. And he was going to end up trapped inside with everyone else. Like, he was a main character in this movie. But thank goodness, because of child labor laws, they scrapped this idea. They said it would cost them way too much money. I wouldn't be able to stand him through this whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a good kill scene. But yeah, through the whole movie, I could see the child labor law thing because they actually shot this movie over like 4 weeks.
Yep.
So they shot it very quick. So I guess in order to have him in the movie, there's no way they could have did that without overworking this little bastard.
But this is why we see so much of him in the beginning, though, is he was actually supposed to be part of the story. In the last minute, they were like, fuck that. And I'm happy they did because I actually cannot stand his character.
You know, I thought it was really fucked up of Sal to take his mask. I'm like, you don't take a kid's mask on Halloween where it's too late to get another mask. Like, that is really shitty. And then by the time we get to this part, I'm like, okay, fuck this kid.
So this next part is one of my favorite parts of the movie. So Judy's mom walks in and introduces herself to Jay and then offers him what she calls a fudge log. And when she holds
looks like a fudge log.
And when she holds the tray out to him, it just looks like 50 fresh turds on a tray.
They look every bit of what you would think a fudge log would be, like a turd.
It literally is just like a bunch of small turds.
It's funny because he doesn't want to be rude, but he's like, he looks at him and he's like, no, I'm okay. I'm on a diet.
Well, he goes to grab one at first, and then he sees him, and he's like, no thanks, I'm on a diet.
Ma'am, did you bake some shit?
Yeah. She's like, come on, you're skinny as a rail, take a fudge log. And he's like, no. And then finally, like, the little brother, he jumps in, and he tells her, like, nobody wants them to look like poodle turds, which, he ain't wrong.
He's not wrong. He was an asshole about it, though. He's like, nobody wants your fudge logs, Mom. They look like poodle turds.
You see how upset she got? Like, this little kid abuses his mom, like, verbally
he abuses his whole family.
He's such a little
He's
fucker.
Like fucking, like, hiding in his sister's closet, watching her change. He's like, he's already been a shithead to Sal, which Sal is like him grown up. That is who Sal is. Like,
I don't know.
Sal jumps out to scare him. That's our first introduction to Sal.
I wish Sal would have beat his little ass.
Knowing what I know now, yes, but he's shitty to his mom. His sister's boyfriend comes in. He's like, "Yeah, you with my sister just because of her big titties?" I'm like, "What is wrong with you? You have verbally abused everybody in this fucking movie, and we're like 10 minutes in."
Yeah, he's a little asshole.
He's stooge grown up.
There was like 2 or 3 times in the movie where I was like, because he would interrupt people with his stupid jokes, and I'm like, dude, will you shut the fuck up? Judy then comes out, and we see that her costume is Alice in Wonderland. She tries to ask Jay why he didn't wear a costume, but the little brother won't fucking stop interrupting with his stupid jokes. He literally cuts Jay off before he can even answer.
He is my second most hated kid in horror movies that we've covered. With the only person that tops him is the little rapping kid when they visit. I fucking hate that kid.
I knew it.
God, that's awful.
What was his rap name? I don't remember.
Little shit. I don't know. That kid sucked, man. That movie. I don't know if you remember, but there's like 3 cuts. There's a horror comedy version of it, and then more of a funny, and we kind of got the in between. Yeah. I would do anything to have a cut of that movie without that kid rapping at all.
I thought you were gonna say without that kid in it at all.
if they could make it make sense, yeah. That kid's just awful, man. This kid's awful for different reasons. This kid's just an asshole.
So Jay tries to kiss Judy before they leave, but she backs away. She's very frigid. Like you can tell she has not lost her V card. She's very sweet, innocent, doesn't want to kiss. She's just really frigid. So next up, we meet our last set of main characters. Jay and Judy pull up to a house where we see Max and Franny walk out in their costumes. Max is dressed as a doctor and Franny is dressed as Peter Pan. They then hop in the car with Judy and Jay and head off to Hull House. So we then jump back to Stooge, Roger, and Helen driving in the car looking for Hull House. They seem kind of lost and they're complaining that the map was not drawn out well. We then see that they get a flat tire and it is discovered that Stooge didn't bring a tire iron. So they are fucked when it comes to the car. Helen thinks that they are lost, but Stooge says he knows where Hull House is and, quote, to start walking, bitch.
Yeah, this is number 2.
Yeah.
This is the second time. I literally, I kept count of the amount of times he calls her or another female character a bitch. It is very, very early on. I'm like, this guy's gotta die first. Like, he is fucking awful. I don't know why anybody would ever be friends with this guy.
I agree. Just then, we see Jay's car pull up, and Max asks if they need a hand. Roger says yes, and after a brief pause, they all start clapping as Jay drives off. I would not give Stooge a ride either.
Yeah, I would have did the same if that fat fuck was with him.
I would let Roger and Helen in, and I would tell Stooge to start walking, bitch.
Yeah, I would be like, oh, well, we don't have a lot of room for your fat ass. You're going to have to walk. Looks like you need it.
So when they're all riding in the car and we get the kind of shots of them sitting and talking in the car, it kind of hit me, man, where the actress that plays Judy, she looks like she could be very closely related to Marley Shelton, who I know you probably don't recognize the name, but she actually plays Deputy Judy Hicks in Scream 4 and 5.
Huh.
Look very similar, kind of act very similar.
And who do you say looks like her?
The Judy.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is weird because in Scream she is Deputy Judy. So, yeah. So
with her sweet ass lemon squares.
Yep. So we then see Jay's car arrive at Hull House, and we get this awesome shot of the house from way back. This thing looks great. It's like this 3-story mansion with like this 12-foot concrete wall around it. A perfect place for a Halloween party. So Max tells Judy about the Hull House history, and apparently it used to be the biggest funeral parlor in 4 counties. And its owner, Mr. Hull, used to do sex stuff with the dead bodies. Until an unknown person murdered the whole family on Halloween night. So we got a good backstory.
Well, he actually says that one of the family members killed all the others and then committed suicide. But it was such a bloody mess that the police couldn't figure out who did the killing. And I'm like, wouldn't that be just a homicide? Like, if you couldn't figure out that...
How would you know one of them committed suicide?
Yeah, if you couldn't figure out who it was, that would just be an unsolved homicide, would it not?
Yeah, that's why I just went with the police didn't know, because I was like, I don't know, how do I explain that?
Yeah, they didn't think that went through. But the house is fucking awesome. This is where we start getting into that Tales from the Crypt vibe.
So as the car pulls into the driveway, we see Max place a stethoscope against the brick wall surrounding the property. He calls Judy over to listen and then explains that you can hear a rushing water running underneath the wall, and that they built the brick gate right over top of a stream because evil spirits can't cross water. Upon entering the old house, it seems that our group here is the first to arrive for the party, where they pretty quickly find an old casket. Suddenly, they see another car pull up, and Jay yells for everyone to turn off the flashlights and hide in order to scare Angela and Suzanne. Jay then lifts the casket lid in order to hide inside, when suddenly he is scared by Sal, who is already in there wearing Judy's little brother's mask. While the group is arguing over Sal being invited, Angela, Suzanne, and Stooge's group all walk in. So we now, finally, for the first time, have the whole entire group together.
Yeah, if I showed up to this house and walked in, like that first group, I would have been convinced that somebody was fucking with us. And it was not an actual party.
Yeah, same. I would be like, oh man, there's not just really not a party happening. Like this is just a fucking fucked up joke.
There's nobody's car, just no lights. Like they walk in, there's nobody in there. I'd be like, yeah, they got us.
What if that little kid would have lied to Sal and he would have just hid in that casket for like 2 hours before he realized no one was coming?
Yeah, that would have. What about Jay tries to fight Sal for jumping out and scaring him while he was trying to get into the casket to scare the next group that's coming in?
And
What's with the guys in this movie, man?
I
They're
love
they're
how he
all
gets
douches.
I love how he gets called out though. Like
Yeah.
she calls him out, like what we're all thinking, like she says it. We then jump a little ahead and see that the party has started. We got a big boom box with stickers all over it.
80s.
Yeah, shit, that's even 90s because I had a big stereo with stickers all over it.
Definitely bled into the 90s,
Yeah.
but the stereos in the 90s were a little slimmer. They were a little sleeker, and they had CD
Yeah.
players on top.
Yep. We also have a cooler full of beer, a snack table, and a fire going in the fireplace. And all the dudes are mesmerized by Suzanne's dancing. I don't really get it. I personally think all the other women are more attractive and interesting than Suzanne.
I agree, but Suzanne is definitely seeming like the one. If anybody's gonna get laid, it's gonna be with Suzanne. Suzanne is acting like she would literally fuck everybody at this party.
Well,
Like-
I don't get because half these guys that are like drooling over her, they have girlfriends that are there.
That are better looking.
Yeah, and
Like
you
literally
know,
every single one of them are better looking.
and I'm sure they're hooking up. So I don't
And-
know why they're so on the Suzanne train.
I get she did like the slutty costume and she's bending over and stuff, but her dancing was awful, which is also 80s. For some reason, girls dance like this in the 80s. It was
Yeah,
not a good date.
I mean, honestly, I crack up every time I see dancing in an 80s movie because it's always the same. It's always the same kind of just like moving their arms back and I mean, it's like it's just
Imagine if
everybody danced like that.
They shot this with no music too. Like it was
Oh,
quite
yeah.
quiet with her in there
Yeah.
doing that. I'd have been. This is this is supposed to be like mesmerizing moment.
So Helen brings a fucking strobe light. That shit about killed me. Like, we talked about this on a recent episode. I don't know what it is, man. But I have a hard time with strobe lights now. So when the first time I watched this movie this week, when I just watched it straight through, I didn't write anything. I had all the lights off, just the TV on, and the strobe lights were fucking me up.
That's weird.
I even shut my eyes for some of it.
Yeah.
Man, it fucks me up.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't have any issues with the strobe. Matter of fact, that if you're gonna have
You have
a
younger
Halloween,
eyes.
yeah, I guess
Your
so.
eyes have better youth. My eyes, what it is,
Better youth.
my eyes are like they're slowing down, so they can't process the flash.
Yeah, it's like a flashbang every
Yeah.
time it goes off.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that the strobe light was a good addition to if you're gonna have a creepy Halloween party with candle lights because there's no electricity.
yeah.
Get a obviously battery powered strobe light. I don't know how they powered this thing.
Batteries,
Did they have battery powered strobe lights?
probably.
Well, I've had strobe lights. It's always been a plug. But what did she say? My mom was an acid hen.
Acid head.
Oh,
Yeah,
was
she just
about to
dropped
say, I've
acid. She's
never
like a
heard
hippie.
that.
Yeah,
it's weird. That was the generation, like the 80s, of their parents were like
Hippies.
ex hippies,
yeah.
getting fucking blasted on acid.
So while the group is busy cutting a rug, we suddenly hear the radio die. Stooge announces that he just put fresh batteries in it and doesn't know what is going on. He is then interrupted by Angela, who tells everyone it is time for party games anyway. She wants to have a seance. So they decide to do a past life seance, which I have personally never heard of. I don't know if it's real. But the way this goes is everyone sits in front of a mirror and it shows you what you were in a past life. After hearing a noise in another room, Stooge and Roger just so happen to find a large creepy mirror. So they set the mirror up and all sit down in front of it. Angela instructs everyone to stare at her reflection until the glass turns black, and it should show what she was in a past life. What if it showed a fudge log?
You were a poodle shit.
Angela was a fudge log before. Now, we see that despite most of them not taking this serious, they are all participating except Roger, who we find out later is the son of a preacher. So I'm sure he's had an earful about demons and the devil and hell and all that stuff. So he's one of them guys that's like not touching anything witchcraft with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, he's definitely the odd man out in the
Yeah.
group here with the witchcraft stuff. He is so against it. Not that he doesn't believe in it, because he literally is facing the other way. Like, he doesn't even want to look at the mirror.
Nope.
He want nothing to do with it. And for the count, this is 4 times Stooge has called Helen a bitch.
So the glass turns black when suddenly Max yells holy shit, kind of fucking up the seance. They all look back at him like, what the fuck? Helen then turns to look back at the mirror and she gets scared by a demon dragon looking thing and a reflection of her own dead face being pressed up against the glass. As she jumps up, it causes the mirror to fall over and break. She's on the floor crying, and Stooge acts like he's gonna punch her in the head. And he yells, "You cannot take this bitch anywhere, I swear." It's like, wow. Like she's a little kid.
Yeah. Man, poor Helen.
Yeah, I know, man.
Like, when she eventually dips out, I'm like, you know what? I don't blame her. She's probably just tired of getting shit on.
She's cute, man. What is she doing with this fucking dude?
I don't know. He looks like he'd be on like a defensive lineman
about to
on
say,
the
like a
football
football team.
team or something. Maybe he's popular.
I do really love the shot of all of them like talking with the reflections in the broken glass. That's a cool shot.
Yeah, cool cinematography on that one.
So they all then hear a loud pounding sound coming from the basement of the house, which Jay kind of blows off. The camera then pans down there where we see the demon from the mirror break open the cremation chamber and escape into the rest of the house. It then kind of travels through the house and finds the group like hanging out in the living room where it jumps into Suzanne's body.
Bro, this cremation chamber, it looks like a furnace. It looks like it has the door of a furnace.
Yeah.
That's so Tales from the Crypt, man.
Yeah.
You cannot have an old like 80s or 90s horror movie haunted house without having like a crematory or furnace down at the bottom, especially one that a demon lives inside of.
Do you think that the demon chose Suzanne because the demon was like, "Oh, she's the easiest to get in"?
Yeah. Yeah.
She'll let me right on in.
There is nothing more open in this world than Suzanne's legs on Halloween night.
Yeah, they could have a party inside of. I don't know if I should finish that sentence.
Suzanne's like, "Oh, we're doing the mirror thing. I thought it was orgy time."
Yeah.
Suzanne should have came as a OBGYN
open
patient.
Open garage door.
She's a gynecologist patient. She just straps on the
Max is the doctor.
She's like, everybody's the doctor today.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to say that.
Angela then tries to warn everyone that the sounds they heard, the sudden cold draft, and the bad smell that suddenly showed up are all signs of a demonic infestation. And the only people who takes this serious is Roger and Helen, who decide to get the fuck out of here. A now secretly possessed Suzanne tosses Roger the keys to Angela's car and tells them to leave. And as they walk out the door, Jay tells everyone that him and Judy are going to explore the house, with Max announcing he and Franny are doing the same. Suzanne then asks Stooge to take her to the bathroom. Sure.
Sal is like, what? Why Stooge? I'm not gonna lie, it would be too.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Everybody.
Stooge.
Yeah.
You're getting that's who you're picking? Like
Yeah.
that's your pick of the litter, Stooge?
Yeah, it was out of left field, I would say. But yeah, this leaves just Angela and Sal left in the living room. But right as they go to leave, Suzanne leans over and plants a big old kiss right on Angela, which is Suzanne's way of possessing another one of the group. So I guess like demons spread like viruses.
Like
You just-
herpes.
Yep, demons are like herpes. So we then jump to Jay, Judy, Max, and Franny, who are having a beer while hanging out in like the morgue area of the house. Max tells them that he had a book on the town's history, and he said that even the Native Americans wouldn't step foot on this land, that they considered it unclean. He then tells a story about a young brave that accidentally settled here with his family. When the tribe went looking for him, they found him sitting in a teepee made out of the intestines of his family while chewing on a human leg. Jay then gives him the old go away signal while the girls aren't paying attention, and Max announces that he and Franny are going to go explore on their own.
You know, Max is the only good character.
Oh, yeah.
A male character, I'll say that. He's the only one. All the other ones are douchebags. And yeah, Max is the one that actually does what they're all trying to do, which is get laid.
Yeah.
They should take some pointers from Max.
Speaking of characters, I can't fucking stand Jay.
I can't stand Jay, Sal, or Stooge.
No.
They're all awful.
Jay, I can't stand Jay the most. For one.
More than Stooge?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He is the only one that refuses to wear a costume. He has shit on everybody's stories of seances and ghosts and demons. The shit from Max's history book. Like, he shits all over anything anybody says. And all he really wants to do is try to fuck Judy.
You know, it would be awesome in his death scene coming up if they just had in the background Sam with his sucker walking off. Like, that's what you get when you don't wear a costume on Halloween.
Yeah, he's like trying to kiss her. He's trying to fuck her. She doesn't even want to kiss him. He totally gives off the attitude like he doesn't give a fuck about any of these people. He just wants to put his dick in a vagina.
He's got frat boy vibes.
Yeah.
Very
I
much
agree.
Frat boy vibes. And he's like, if you're not gonna have sex with me, fuck you. I'm leaving you by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have had roofies, like if he could have got a hold of roofies, guaranteed he'd roofie somebody. So, of course, as soon as they leave, what's the first thing that he does? He starts feeling on Judy's boobs, which you can tell makes her feel pretty uncomfortable. She tells him not here, and he's like, what? You mean you don't want to lose your virginity in an abandoned mortuary? In like the rooms they used to cut up bodies in? Like, that's how he's acting.
It's like, that's the point. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Sneak off in this creepy room and have sex.
Like, no.
No,
Jay.
This is why I brought you here and not the school dance. It would have been so hard to fuck you at the school dance. Here, it's creepy.
Yeah. He fucking sucks, man. So we then jump outside where Roger and Helen are still trying to leave, but they have come across a major issue. The gate into the property is now gone. It's just a solid brick wall, and they are trapped along with the rest of the gang.
I love how he's like feeling the bricks, looking for like a Scooby-Doo trap door.
Honestly,
and I was like, please don't let that. It would be so cheesy if he like pushed a brick in right where he was feeling and it opened up a gate.
Well, Helen says they've walked around the whole entire wall twice. Honestly, on the third time, I think I would resort to feeling the shit too. Like, there's got to be some kind of fucking trap door thing here. Is like, how in the fuck is there all of a sudden no way in or out of here?
Yeah, I would be so convinced that I know we came in, that something was going on here. Nobody built up a wall that fast. I would be in, how are we going to get over this wall mode? Like, how are we going to jump this shit?
So while Roger is looking for the wall, Helen states that maybe they are dead and have went to hell. Roger isn't hearing none of that shit though and continues looking when all of a sudden he finds himself completely alone as Helen has just up and vanished.
Helen left because she was tired of getting shit on by everyone.
One thing I do love about these movies, and we don't really see it much anymore, is that dark blue nighttime.
Yeah.
I love the outside shots of this movie because it's that dark blue nighttime. I love it.
It's got that, like, that Tales from the Crypt, the intro, when you're coming in, that, we don't get that very, you know what? We did get that a little bit in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. When they go to the haunted, it has that cinematography, that
It
dark
does.
feel, because a lot of movies do it a lot brighter now.
I would agree, but I think it's not as blue as it was. So after hearing a demon call his name, Roger gets freaked out and runs and hides inside of Angela's car. So we jump back to Jay and Judy, where Jay is fiercely making out with Judy, even as she's trying to talk. She tells him that she wants to stop, and the nice guy dam finally breaks. Jay calls her out, saying that he knows she fucked Sal, which causes Judy to be like, what the hell? She then tells him that they only went out on one date and that's it. And Jay responds, once is all it takes. And half the school knows they fucked. Judy gets pissed and shoves Jay off of her, which causes Jay to be like, fuck this, I'm out. Judy then tries to go after him, but finds that the doorknob won't turn. We then see that Suzanne has went into the bathroom, leaving Stooge out in the hallway. She ends up in there for a long time, causing Stooge to repeatedly bang on the door wanting in. Suzanne then looks into the mirror where we see her face turn like really old. Stooge then hears glass break and bursts through the door, thinking that she's in trouble. But when he walks in, he finds the bathroom completely empty. So back down in the living room where we see Sal kind of staring at Angela as she does some weird shit. She then starts goth dancing all by herself to the sounds of the howling wind. And suddenly, the radio cuts back on, freaking Sal out. We then see this cool scene where Angela is just doing the goth boogie to the song Stigmata Martyr. And I like it.
Yeah, the beginning of this is really weird. It's like the Australian chick at the Olympics doing the breakdancing. Seeing the video of that.
Really? Yeah, but
I dig it. Once the music starts, honestly, this whole scene is my favorite scene of the movie.
This is actually a huge scene in the movie. Fun fact, Amelia Kincaid, because she was a professional dancer, she plays Angela, she actually made this whole dance up herself, and then it's such a big thing in the franchise that she comes back and does it in 2 and 3.
Yeah, I will say that Sal is not nearly as concerned as I would be had she not dropped down, or had she dropped down in front of me like that, where she drops down on like her all fours and her head like sticks out, she kind of drops down backwards. I'd have been out of there. I'd have been like, you know what? Had I not seen that, I would have been pulled in. But in Sal's point, that's like one of the first things she does. I'd have been like, well, what the fuck was that?
I think this is so much cooler than that fucking Wednesday dance that went viral.
I don't know. I don't remember the Wednesday dance.
It was not as cool as this.
This is, after the weird thing in the beginning, this is like hot goth girl vibes dancing. She would have pulled me in.
You know what vibe she gives off, like especially during the dancing stuff, is Nancy from The Craft. Like she's got Nancy from The Craft vibes for sure, which, The Craft came later, so I guess Nancy actually has her vibes. But so she starts doing all of these like spins and shit when suddenly the strobe light cuts on, which makes this even more cooler. Sal gets freaked out and he kind of like backs out of the living room a bit, where we quickly see Stooge just like appear behind him, which was really cool. Sal is shocked when he backs into him, but then tells him to watch out because Angela is acting weird. Stooge shrugs this off and goes to dance with Angela when a slow song comes on. Sal takes off down the hall as Stooge and Angela kiss, but this nice, slow, passionate kiss quickly turns bad when Angela grabs the back of Stooge's head and begins biting his fucking tongue off. Stooge finally gets free, where we see him bleeding very badly as Angela smiles with her teeth covered in blood and her eyes yellow. She then spits a chunk of tongue at Stooge as he looks up at her in fear.
This is when the movie takes off.
Yeah.
like I said, this is my favorite scene. Even when she's biting his tongue, like they did this really cool, which I assume is probably really hard to do, especially in the 80s. They go around them. They do this like circular shot going around them.
Yeah.
Relatively pretty fast, actually, but just this whole thing is awesome. My favorite part of the movie. Sal, man. Sal ain't about that goth girl.
No,
He can't handle it.
He wants Judy, who's like prim and proper. So Sal then finds Suzanne sitting in a storage room while she does her makeup. And when he calls out her name, she turns around to reveal that she has drawn all over her face with lipstick. So Sal is like, what the fuck is wrong with all of you guys? He then says bye and tells her that he's going home. So this next part is why I always remembered this movie from my childhood. This freaked me out so bad as a kid, and I thought it was just me for so long until like 2 weeks ago when I seen like someone posted about this on a horror movie page, and then I seen how many other people commented and like had felt the same way. This is probably the scene that's cemented in my head the most. So after Sal leaves, Suzanne is just sitting there by herself looking at the lipstick in her hand. She unbuttons her shirt, revealing her boobs. She then, using the lipstick, draws a line down her chest, under her left boob, and up and around the top, and then down to her nipple, where she then pushes the lipstick tube inside her nipple and into her fucking body.
Yeah, this was pretty out of left field. This is out of all the crazy shit I've ever seen in horror movies. She literally shoved for some reason, a tube of lipstick through her boob.
Yeah, like the whole thing is, it's just like gone. Like it just disappears into her titty. And to make it worse, she sticks her whole ass finger in there and then digs around. And then she pulls her finger out and there's no hole or anything. It's just normal.
I feel like YouTube is gonna fuck us on this episode. They're talking about finger and titties.
Dude, it gives me the creeps every time I see it. Like it's
it's her expression too, which is really creepy. Cause she's like, I mean, this would be a weird thing to do anyway, but when she starts feeling around and the expression that she has on her face, like she's enjoying this so much, it's one of those parts in a movie that's just so unsettling. You're like, because you're still in shock at this point. For me, this was the first time watch for me, so I was like, oh, fuck. And you're getting over that shock, and it's just very unsettling.
Yeah, the first time I've seen this, I was 7 or 8, and I'm like, oh, yes, boobs. And then that happened, and I was like, is that possible? That doesn't seem right. I didn't know. Yeah, man, that shit fucked me up, dude. That shit, like, I think it's...
Were you so confused about boobs for so long?
Up until last year. I actually,
You didn't try to stick your finger in one, did you?
I did. That's how I found out. And, yeah, it didn't work. There was no hole. So right after this, guess who shows up? Jay's extra horny ass appears in the doorway and finds Suzanne just sitting there with her titties all out and face painted like a clown. And of course, he's down to smash.
Yeah, it's funny because Jay sees her face and he's like, or not Jay, Sal sees her face and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, you literally drew lipstick all over your face, but not Jay. He's like, I'm gonna pretend that nothing's going on here. She even asked like how my makeup is, and he's like, what are you talking about? Your makeup's fine.
So Sal then walks into the living room where he sees Angela just sitting in front of the fire. He tells her that he is going home. She then turns towards him, telling him that she was just warming her hands in the fire. And as she moves her arms to show him, we see that her hands are on fire and her skin is badly burnt. It looks cool.
It does. It looks great. And that's at this point in the movie where I was like, Angela, by far, best character in the movie.
Yep. He then runs to the front door where he finds it won't open. As she gets up and walks towards him, he takes off down the hallway. Now, I actually noticed a really funny mistake here. So, because Sal, he has that flashlight in his hand, you can see that he ran down the hallway, but the hallway is only like 15 feet. And at the very end of the hallway, it's like pitch black, right? So you can see that the actor, he ran down the hallway and then like stopped and waited for the director to yell cut. And you can see him just stop and wait there because of the light from the flashlight.
Hey,
It's really funny.
They shot it in 4 weeks. Didn't have time to I guess catch that.
Yeah, I'll have to show you. Like if you go and you watch the part where he takes off running, it's supposed to look like he takes off running and he's just gone somewhere through the house.
He doesn't stop.
But it really just runs 15 feet into the shadow and then just kind of waits there, but he still lets the flashlight shine on the wall. So it's really funny.
Speaking of notice stuff, I actually, in the scene where Angela bites Stooge's tongue off, you actually notice after that from that point forward, her cross earrings are now upside down crosses.
Yeah, I actually
thought that was really fucking cool.
I didn't notice it until she turns into like the demon version of her, but yeah, I did notice that.
So I've seen pictures and still shots of her prior to watching it where it's upside down. You can see him upside down. So whenever I started the movie and I seen her the first time, I noticed that they were just regular crucifixes. So I was waiting for when in the movie that was going to happen. And that's the scene.
Yeah. So now we jump back to Roger, who is asleep in Angela's car when he gets awoken by the car being shook. And of course, he thinks it is Stooge's fat ass fucking with him. But this quickly changes as he is looking out of the windshield when suddenly Helen's dead, bloody face drops from above and slams against the glass of the car, which, if you remember, this is the image that Helen seen in the mirror earlier. So back in the house, Suzanne strips her underwear off and climbs down on top of Jay's penis. And Jay is like, finally, some real vaginal intercourse. It's like, God, my balls were starting to hurt. And everything is going great until Suzanne gets really weird and insecure and tells Jay to stop looking at her. Her face then quickly transforms where we see her eyes are red and yellow. She's got like boils all over and these like demon teeth. And Jay's like, hold on. I can still do this. I can still come. Like demon or no demon, I'm ready to bust this nut.
He's like, can we wait until we're done? Can you just pause on the killing for a second? Let me finish, please.
I've been waiting.
For the love of God.
All fucking night. I've been dating Judy for like a month. She won't even touch it. Just let me get this. Just let me get this one last one.
Willing to die for it.
Yeah.
So who do you think killed Helen? Meant to ask you that.
Oh, I don't know, but I did see when I was looking for like kill count, it claims that Angela killed Helen.
That's a lie. Stooge killed her.
I
you
can
know
see
his
that.
abusive ass went and killed her.
Yeah, you can't kill this bitch anywhere. Suzanne then reaches down and sticks her thumbs into Jay's eyes and presses with all of her might. We then see his eye sockets fill with blood as both eyeballs pop. And Jay's like, wait, I can still come without eyes. I don't need them. I just need my dick and balls. Like, don't stop.
It's like, actually, this is some sensory play.
Yeah.
I can do this.
The whole house then hears Jay's screams, and we see Franny pop up from the casket completely naked. And good God, Mighty Joe Friday, she is fine as hell.
Yeah, she's not one that you really notice as much earlier. And like they show her the least amount out of all the girls, and I
think she was the hottest one.
Well, I'm sure you did after this scene.
Even before that, I thought she was really. You know what though?
This scene helps.
This could be fucked up, but I was like, is that the same girl from Manhattan?
that.
I looked it up. It's not.
Okay, I was gonna say
But
maybe it was.
I mean, they were both kind of cute Asian girls, and I was like, well, man, maybe it's the same person because it's around somewhat the same time. And no, they're different. But yeah, man, I thought she was smoking. So her and Max are fucking in this casket, which honestly, interesting idea, but in reality, that probably sucks.
I would do it. I would 100% be like, well, let's fucking this. I mean, when else are we gonna be in a creepy house with a casket?
Yeah.
There's not a dead body in it. Clearly, they didn't
yeah.
use it. So yeah, this is gonna be a good time. We're gonna have sex in this casket.
But as this is going on, we see Evil Stooge show up behind Franny. He looks really cool. For some reason, I do remember him having like the pig nose on when he's a demon, but I guess my memory is incorrect.
I was so bummed. I was like, God, I thought we were done with Stooge for this movie.
Oh, I love Demon Stooge.
But you know what? Well, I didn't know then that we weren't going to have to deal with Stooge's personality. I'm okay with him being dead and running around as long as he doesn't open his mouth.
He's a better person as the demon.
He literally is. Throughout this movie, he is a much better person. We have passed 5 and 6 of him calling the females in this movie bitches. After Helen left, he resorted to calling Susan a bitch in the bathroom. It's like, get out of the bathroom, bitch. I gotta pee.
Yeah.
And then he calls her a bitch again after he gets like trapped in there.
He's like in one of those commercials where he's like walking through the woods, like, and it's like playing some happy music, and he's like, once I got possessed, my life changed for the better. Get you a demon now. Call 1-800-so-and-so to get possessed and change your life for the better.
I'm sure his family would be pleased. His mom's like, thank God. Like, he was for sure going to either murder a girlfriend or end up in prison for something else.
It's like, side effects include getting boils on your skin, dreading green eyes, crazy teeth, and killing people. He then grabs Franny's neck and breaks it, which I was sad about, causing her now dead body to just fall on top of Max. Stooge then attempts to close the lid, but Max's arm is still hanging out as he begs for Stooge to stop. But Stooge just slams the lid repeatedly until Max's arm gets chopped off.
Poor Max.
Yeah, this is fucked up that this popped into my brain. But Max died with his penis still inside his dead girlfriend.
Yeah, that's definitely popped in mine too. I'm like, not only did his girlfriend just get her neck broken in front of him, now he's closed up in this casket, still inside of his dead girlfriend, who's laying on top, and his arm is broken off, but he's not dead yet. So he is literally he's missing an arm. He's trapped in a coffin with his dead, turning into a demon girlfriend who he is still inside of. Like,
yeah, he has to wait till he bleeds to death.
You think she got like a demonic vagina too? She just snapped it off.
Honestly, I don't think anything happened because later on we see them, come out of there. And
Did they have demon sex?
Well,
did they keep going?
No, I was thinking, what if they both they turn into demons and they come alive? Because they don't come alive until later on in the movie. And they're like, why are we stuck together? Like, they don't remember. Because they're kind of like zombies. They're not like Angela is or anything.
You don't think he had one of those post-erection boners? He just kept it up.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how this works.
Like, what? I mean, you're both demons, so it's not weird. Just finish the job. You think like little Satans come out instead of little sperms?
Maybe. Like little sperms with like fucked up teeth and like yellow eyes. Maybe. I don't know. We need to know where this story goes.
We do. We missed an important part of the casket here.
So next up, we see Roger sneaking through the house when suddenly he hears Angela's voice say, "Welcome back." He then turns around to see her just standing behind him. And we finally get evil demon Angela, which we all know from the movie poster. It takes a long time to see her like badass looking, but we finally have made it.
Yeah, the makeup on the demons, especially her, obviously she
Yeah.
and Susan are like focal points of this, but man, all of them look great.
Well, it's funny because their look was actually accidental. So, he was doing the makeup and the director and them came in and said, "Hey, you got 20 minutes before we start filming scenes." And he had done all these like dark red blotches, and then he was like, "Oh shit, like I can't fix this in 20 minutes." Like he was like, "I don't know what I'm going to do. I would need like hours to fix this." Cuz he tried something new and ended up not working out, but he was like, "Fuck." So what he ended up doing was taking kind of the white coloring and just like blotching it all over the red, which created this weird like layering effect. And he totally admits like it ended up looking real cool. It's kind of because one thing he didn't want to do is he did not want to do the makeup like all the other possession movies. He wanted it to be different. And that's why he tried this kind of new technique. And he said it ended up working real well. It's kind of a staple of the franchise. Like when you see one of those demons, you kind of know what movie it's from. But yeah, it's just a big accident.
You know what? I just when you were telling me that, I picture Bob Ross just being like, "It's okay. It's okay. There is no
Put a little cloud
there
here.
is no mistakes here. Just happy accidents."
Just put a little cloud right there, right over it, and then hide it. That'd be fine.
You want some more white here? Just
Yeah.
put a little bit of white right there.
Yeah. So if you want to know about the special effects, definitely check out the Scream Factory documentary because he has a whole portion in it where he talks about all the effects. So he gets scared and takes off running, where he runs into Sal. He tries to tell him about Angela, but Sal tells him, like, "I already know." Roger has a bit of like a breakdown, but Sal calms him down while they wait for Angela to pass by. A little later on, Sal and Roger come across Judy, who has been locked in this room for like half the movie. They finally free her by busting in the door, but as soon as they are reunited, evil Angela comes floating down the hallway in her black wedding dress. It's really awesome. I'm glad that they did this shot because it looks fucking cool. Like she's not even walking. She's just like floating towards them.
Very demonic
Yes.
like.
So Roger just takes off running, leaving his friends behind. Sal and Judy end up trying to hide in this storage room, but quickly discovers Suzanne sitting in there holding a dead Jay. Suzanne then says, "Hey, how about an orgy? I'm sure if we try, we can get Jay hard again." And I'm sure even in death, Jay is still fucking horny.
He's got a post-death boner, post-mortem boner.
For sure. Suzanne then backhands Sal out of a window as Judy opens the door and takes off running. Judy ends up running into a room with all of these caskets where she soon spots Max's severed arm. Before she gets a chance to react, the arm comes to life and grabs her leg. And this is where it hit me on why I like this movie so much. It's similar to The Evil Dead.
I did think the makeup, the like skin tones and stuff were very similar.
Well, we have a group of young people go to an abandoned house in the middle of nowhere where an evil entity gets released. Slowly, all the friends turn into demons and have fun torturing and killing the, surviving members of the group. And even like their fucking body parts and shit come alive to kill you. Like it's like The Evil Dead.
Yeah, this movie though has a lot more like kind of comedy, funny lines, and whereas I think The Evil Dead, the original, was just purely scary.
I will give you that, but I'm just saying, like, I think that I like this movie so much because it hits a lot of the marks that another movie that I really like hits.
Yeah.
Like I like that story, that kind of set up for the story, and then the whole demons, and you can't kill them. It's hard as fuck to kill them. The demons like are fucking with you, and there's kind of some, yeah. I mean,
Well, I will say I think that the scariest part of this movie, when you talk, because most of it's a fun horror movie. A lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
it's not scary, but The one thing that is scary is the makeup and the
Yeah.
effects. That's what I feel like this movie's kind of known for.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing for me with the original Evil Dead, is they did the Deadites so good.
Yeah.
When you see them for the first time, it's like, holy shit. They even have the different color eyes and shit.
Yeah, I get similar vibes from it, which is one of the reasons I think that I really dig this. So Judy starts freaking out as she kicks the arm across the room when suddenly a zombified Max and Franny pop out of the coffin and try to grab her. So she says, "Fuck this, I'm out," and takes off running again. So during this part of the movie, we just see Judy running all over the house. She gets to one place and one of the demons scares her. So then she just runs to another place and another demon jumps out and scares her. And just kind of goes on like this for a bit. So eventually, after Judy has managed to probably run into every fucking room in this house, she finally ends up in the attic, which has a balcony leading to outside. And as she is trying to figure out what to do, she hears someone coming up the stairs and attempts to hide. We then see that it is Evil Stooge looking very demony. Roger then starts yelling Judy's name from down below when he suddenly tells her to look out, and as she turns to her left, she sees Angela standing there. Angela grabs her by the neck, but somehow Sal ends up also on the roof, and as he runs over and attacks Angela, they knock Judy off the roof, but she is able to grab the ledge.
Sal, so it's kind of confusing. Sal lands in this like courtyard part of the house, I guess.
Well, it's like
where
it's like a shaft because he can't get out. The only way he can get out is up. So he's
Yeah.
in some kind of shaft.
Yeah, it's weird. He said the name of it. Then they put the great line in here where he's like, "Oh no," he called it a something shaft. I don't know what the word for it was, but he's like, "No wonder none of the windows were boarded up." With a window right behind him, fully boarded up. And then almost every other window in the house throughout the movie has boards on it.
Yeah.
But he has to climb, and I imagine that's how he ends up on the roof. He climbs up to the roof, and the whole time I'm thinking, if I was her, I would have taken my chances. I would have jumped. Or I would have at least tried to hide out on the roof, which is what Sal was doing to great success before this happens.
So while wrestling around, Angela and Sal fall from the roof down to the ground as Judy continues to hang from the ledge. And unfortunately, when Sal hits the ground, a wooden fence post goes right through his chest, killing him.
Unfortunately, I thought this was very fortunate.
I will disagree. I actually am a Sal fan.
Sal's a fucking douche,
but
man. and he's like, you know,
yeah, but he was the only one willing to like kick the fucking demon's ass or something. Roger is a pussy.
Roger is a pussy. I'll give you that. Roger sucks. But I mean, the only reason Sal's there is because he's trying to fuck Judy.
Yeah, I don't like Sal originally, but I think he makes a turnaround. I think when shit goes down,
He does.
he makes a turnaround.
He turns around right as he flips in the air before he lands on that fucking on that spike. I wasn't a Sal fan. I did think it was awesome though, how she kind of grabs him and they jump off the roof, and she does like while she's holding him like this. They do like a flip in the air.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It was very like, top level witchy thing to do.
I concur. So, with Roger's help, Judy is able to make it down to the yard finally, but the celebration is short-lived because Evil Stooge drops down behind her, causing them both to take off running. Angela, who is now back up, makes a joke out of Sal's death, causing Roger and Judy to look over and see that he already has a tombstone, and it says, "Born December 6, 1970, died tonight." And I thought that was worth a chuckle.
That was a good one.
Yeah, so they take off running where they eventually run into this like other building on the property, and they end up locking themselves in the room with the cremation chamber. The demons then start trying to break down the door, which prompts Judy to come up with a plan. She then breaks the gas pipe and pulls it towards the door. She then pulls out the lighter out of her pocket from earlier and tells Roger to cut the gas on. Once she finally gets the lighter to spark, she basically makes a big-ass flamethrower. Stooge and Angela then break the door down and come running in, where Judy promptly sets them ablaze.
This whole part of the movie is just that. So Judy, for one, is like, we'll escape through the furnace, which ends up being a cremation furnace.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever think there was a way out? But then she's like, I need to get a weapon as they're coming through the door, and she's like, the pipe. So this 120-pound girl rips the gas pipe out of this furnace.
I'm not sure why it stretched that far.
I don't know. I don't either. I'm not sure
feel
why
it would just be stuck there too. I mean, even if you
broke
it
one
from
side,
yeah, it's you can't pull it 10 feet away.
You can't. Yeah, you can't wrap it around behind you.
It's like a rubber.
Yeah, it's like
a rubber.
It's like a rubber
hose.
metal. It's those rare rubber. Those rare rubber. Those rare rubber metals.
Yeah, that's me with the old man in the groceries.
Yeah, this whole part's like, you could tell they were in the writing room, or whoever wrote this was sitting there and he was stuck here. It's like, I gotta cut. And not to mention that this old abandoned house still has gas running to it. Like, the gas company never cut the gas off.
I mean, I can believe that it just has gas in the line still, but I can't get over the stretching of the pole. That's what makes me just be like, what?
Did she tell Roger to turn the gas on?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that part, because I was also like, well, why would the gas still be on? If that was the case, the whole fucking room would have blown up.
Because when the guy killed his whole family or whatever, he didn't have a chance to cut the gas off.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, and not to mention, too, Demon Stooge calls her a bitch because he's not done calling women bitch. This is like number 8 of him calling one of the women here bitch. Even in his demon life, he may be better, but he still can't let go of calling women bitches.
It flares up from time to time. So once they are on fire, they take off running back through the house. Roger ends up running off and leaving Judy again. And we then see every door slam shut in the house, kind of like a lockdown. Judy then finds Roger trying to get out of the front door, but it is no use. We then see Evil Jay come up behind Judy, prompting Roger to run off again. This dude obviously has like no issues leaving a man behind.
Or a woman.
And, like anybody, like
he's like, I put in my notes, he's like a cat with water. Like, he is literally like, he will jump through a window. He will do anything he can to survive.
You know, it's almost like a Dave Chappelle skit where this like he plays a guy that's like just takes off running every time something happens. He's like, I'm out. Judy has more balls than this guy. Like, she's more willing to fight for her life than his goal is like, I'll just run around this house forever.
Yeah.
I'll just run from room to room.
When it comes to fight or flight, his flight is
Strong.
Dialed in for sure.
Very strong. So Judy is now left alone to deal with not just Jay, but a very burnt and awesome looking Angela. She runs off and finds Roger in the living. He literally ran from the door to the next room over. But she finds him in the living room, and they quickly realize that they are being surrounded by all of the demons. So basically, their whole friend group they're now like evil and dead. How might they escape, you may ask? Well, Roger does what he does best. He yells, "You won't get me!" He fast tracks his way right towards the window and dives right through it with Judy close behind.
Yeah, he
literally fucking runs
puts himself through a window with a board on it and successfully makes it through. He's like a bowling ball. It's like a bowling ball trying to get away from the rest of the alley. Whoever threw the bowling ball.
It's like his preacher dad told him the same thing that Forrest Gump's mom told him. Like, whenever you're in trouble, just run. So her and Roger then begin to climb the wall using a piece of barbed wire that's like hanging down. And you know that saying, ladies first? Well, Roger doesn't know that saying.
Well, it's like he starts to let her go first, and then he's like, "They're too close. Move."
He literally moves her out of the way so he can begin climbing.
His flight is so strong. He literally climbs up a piece of barbed wire while it is slicing his hand up because his flight's just that strong.
Like if there was like a stroller with a baby in it, he would just pick the baby up and throw it at the demons while he climbed away. Judy then looks back where she sees like all the demons are heading her way. Roger makes it up to the top and extends his hand for Judy to climb up and grab. As soon as she grabs his hand, a melted stooge grabs her leg, burning her badly. When Angela walks out of the house and into the moonlight, she looks fucking awesome.
She is a demon goddess.
She is like so half of her is burnt, but she's still a demon. It's so cool. I would love to get like a picture or poster of that.
So if I could pick a poster of her, it's when she first turns and she's got the blood from biting Stooge's tongue off, and she's got the glowing eyes and the upside down crucifixes. Thought that should have been a fucking poster. Like, that's one I would frame. Yeah, I don't know if you notice when they all walk out, when all the demons are together going towards the wall, they must have ran out of money for Max's demon makeup. They just like powdered him white.
Yeah, I know. They did the same thing to Sal.
Yeah,
and because he's already dark skinned, like has the darker Hispanic skin, it looks like when Dave Chappelle does the white news anchor.
Yeah, so, but at least for Sal, they had to put like a pipe through his chest. They had to do something. Literally, Max is just like a guy who like busted open a thing of baby powder.
No, he's got the ripped arm, which, by the way, I did see.
Yeah, who he's probably holding his arm behind his back, covered in like fucking baby powder.
I did see that the cast were talking about how he would drive to like McDonald's in the drive-thru with his bloody nub. And fuck with the McDonald's people. So she looks so awesome that the sight of her causes Roger to panic and fucking fall to the other side, just leaving Judy hanging there.
He's like, I can't risk it.
He literally freaks out when she steps out. He's like, oh, and he just falls off. They then all start grabbing Judy's legs as she attempts to fight them off. And what do you know? Roger climbs back up and grabs her hand, pulling her up, and just as they fall to the ground, the sun comes up, meaning Halloween is over, and the demons turn to smoke.
You know, if she would have just hung onto that wall for another like 10 seconds,
she wouldn't need
She would have
Roger.
been fine.
Yeah, imagine if Roger would have like left her, just like, fuck it, and just took off running through the woods.
I'm surprised he didn't.
And she would have lived, and she would have... He would have seen her like next day, and she's like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he's like, "You lived?
What did you expect me to do? You didn't pray enough."
He said, "You never get me," and he took off running through the woods. So as the large cloud of smoke dissipates into the air, we get one last shot of the demon's head as it lets out a large growl, as Judy and Roger stare in disbelief.
But if Roger ran into her, if he would have took off, he probably would have ran. Because he would have thought she was a demon.
He would have avoided her all through high school.
He'd have been like, you ain't gonna get me.
He sees her at lunch, drops his tray, and just runs off. We then get a shot of a very fucked up looking Roger and Judy walking down the street. We see them walk past the old man from the beginning of the movie as he is retrieving his morning paper. Of course, he has some negative words for them. We then follow him into his house where he sits down at the table and his wife brings him a slice of apple pie. I'm not surprised that he is a dick to his wife as well.
Bro, this guy wiped his ass with sandpaper. Like, he is just miserable.
He is a miserable person. I wonder if he's like Stooge's granddad. Because he just treats everybody like shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Those two are related somehow.
But he begins eating the pie, and she mentions that she made it herself, which causes him to pause for a moment. She then says that because there weren't as many trick-or-treaters last night, she had to do something with all of the leftover apples. The old man then gets a very surprised look on his face as we start to see blood pour from his neck. Because remember, he put razor blades in the apples for them damn kids. Blood quickly begins pouring from his neck as we see a razor blade come out of his skin. The man yells in pain as his wife just kind of stands there watching. He finally just falls face down onto the table dead as his wife calmly walks over, pats him on the back, and says, "Happy Halloween, dear," as she joyfully takes a sip of her coffee. And that is the end of Night of the Demons.
That is such a Tales from the Crypt ending.
Yeah.
Like the twist ending. Somehow he swallowed a entire razor blade.
I love that they
without
put
being
that
able to
in there.
tell. Yeah.
Has nothing to really do with the story, but
yeah.
it's just like a good way. It almost gave me like the movie Trick or Treat vibes too.
Yeah.
That ending.
This is a very fun movie. And this, although it had nothing to do with the story, I'm glad that they input this at the end. Kind of a twist end. And I don't blame his wife. Imagine having to live with this fucking guy.
I'm surprised she didn't kill him long before.
She's been looking for a way.
Yeah, the whole razor blade and apples thing is dumb because like I could see you biting into an apple and a razor blade like slicing the fuck out of your lip or your gum, but I cannot see you taking a bite out of an apple and swallowing a whole ass razor blade not realizing it.
I don't know about 1988, but I know in the 90s, they weren't giving away apples while I was trick-or-treating. I never got like, you would every now and then get the dentist that give you like a small thing of like floss or something stupid. But if I did get an apple from somebody, I feel like you would be able to tell that a razor blade was shoved into it. I'd be like, I'm not going to eat this apple. It's got a fucking slice in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Even without the slice, I'd have been like, I had this whole bag of candy. Why the fuck am I going to eat this apple?
I wouldn't eat the fucking apple. All right, so had the film opened nationwide with the numbers it earned in Detroit, it was projected to have earned $13 million domestically in its opening weekend, which would have ranked it amongst the top grossing horror films of its decade. So that was a bad call to release it regionally.
No, that's impressive too, because the 80s was full of great horror films.
Yeah. So according to actress Linnea Quigley, the house used in the film had very little dressing done to it as it was in pretty bad shape at the time. Many of the items, furniture, and decor were authentic to the original building. If you watch the documentary, they actually talk about the house. It was like an abandoned house in a really bad neighborhood of LA. And when they filmed there, they literally like lived in like they did everything in that house. The whole thing was filmed in the house. They had their dressing rooms in the house. Basically, they would show up for the day and stay in this house all the time and film and hang out. And they did that for a whole month.
Yeah, I did hear, or I seen a comment. Somebody said that because somebody was asking about where it was because they'd like to see it, and it has since been demolished.
Yeah, it's a grocery store theirs now.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah. So Kevin Tinley said in an interview that he came up with the Linnea Quigley lipstick on her breast scene, but the more he thought about it, the more he felt it was too out there. He went to the office the next day planning to cut it, but everyone else loved it and convinced him to keep it. Good call, because that's what concreted this movie into my memory.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a good call to keep. I mean, he's right. It's definitely out there, but that's part of what makes it stand out. And her performance that she gives while it's happening is just, it's just super unsettling.
Yeah, a lot of people. She's been in like a bunch of horror movies, but I think one of the main ones she's known for is Return of the Living Dead. So she already had established what she could do when they actually brought her into this movie. And it was a smart move because she plays Suzanne, like the creepy Suzanne. I don't really care about the Suzanne before she gets possessed. But when she's possessed, man, she's really good at being creepy. Speaking of her, Her and special effects artist Steve Johnson met when she came in to get the mold of her fake boobs. They ended up dating and they ended up getting married.
He seen those titties
seen
and
those-
he was like,
He molded them up and was like, I gotta get these things in real life. All right, so ratings and kill count. Total kills, we have 9. We have Suzanne, who was possessed by a demon. Stooge, who his tongue was ripped out by Angela, also got possessed. Helen, who was killed off screen and thrown onto the car. Jay, who had his eyes gouged out by Suzanne. Franny, who had her neck snapped by Stooge. Max, who bled to death from having his arm ripped off by Stooge. Sal, who was impaled on the pole from the fall. Angela, who was possessed and burned. And the old man, whose throat was cut open by razor blades and apples by his wife. All right, favorite kill.
I forgot about the old man. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm up first. I went with Jay because I like the thumbs in the eyes, and I think that the eyeballs, the pops from the eyeballs, is a really good touch. Close second's hard, man, because I would say, Angela burning to death because that looked awesome. But then again, I don't know if that really counts as a kill, so I guess
It's not.
Officially I'm gonna go with old man.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Okay.
She was already dead. I went with Stooge by far. I hated Stooge.
Wow.
For starters, I fucking hated Stooge. So I was super stoked when I got to see him die. I was really tired of hearing him say the word bitch. But outside of that, I thought the cinematography, this is my favorite scene of the entire movie leading up to this. The cinematography of the camera spinning as he's getting his tongue bit off was fucking awesome. And that's when we get the reveal of Demon Angela. I would say a second, I put in here Jax getting his eyes gouged out.
Jay?
Sorry, Jay. My phone.
I was like, wait a minute. What?
So my close second would probably be, I initially put in here Jay getting his eyes gouged out, but I forgot about the old man. So I'm going to replace it with the old man. The razor blades coming through his throat looked great.
I'm going to change my favorite kill. So my favorite kill of the movie was Roger's masculinity. Yeah. So film rating. I rated this movie a solid 4. It's got everything that I love in an 80s horror flick. We got teens, we got sex, alcohol, demon possessions, cool looking fucking bad guys, practical effects, and I love the setting. My only issue is I don't like the survivors. The final guy and final girl, as you would say. I honestly, and I'm sure you're going to disagree with this, but I would have actually liked it better if Sal would have been the fucking survivor.
I'm going to be honest. I was hoping nobody survived.
I would have been okay with that too.
I was hoping that they were going to try to get in that furnace to hide out and they were going to get burned alive.
Get burnt to death.
And I thought that was going to be the movie.
I would have been.
What a great movie.
I would have been happier with that over these two surviving. They're kind of, I will say Judy does make a little bit of a turnaround, but it's only the last 20 minutes of the movie that all of a sudden she's kind of badass. Could not stand Roger surviving. It would have been different if he wouldn't have just left everybody every chance he got. That's all he did. But yeah, that's my only complaint is the survivors. But other than that, I love the movie, man. It's fucking great.
Yeah, you talked about it had everything from the 80s. That final song that plays in the post credits is the 80s.
Yeah.
And just musical sound.
Yeah.
If you took Hairspray and poofy fucking shoulder dresses and everything else from the 80s
distortion pedals
and just put it together in the echo on the snare drum.
Delay.
You just stuffed all that together and it came out as a sound. It was the song.
Yeah.
I don't know what band it was, but it was the 80s fucking song I think I've ever heard. I gave this movie a 3.3.
Okay.
So it's a really fun movie, really fun Halloween movie. I loved the lighting. The lighting, the cinematography, and the set were amazing. I thought it was so cool too when I found out that the set was an actual place. Like they didn't really do a whole lot to it. I mean, how many horror movies with a house like this do you see where it's an actual house? It's not like a set that they went in and made.
And it's a cool house.
Yeah, it's really fucking
It's not a
cool.
very basic looking house. It's a very
It is-
cool looking house.
It is a house where it is very possible that some teenagers did at some point have a Halloween party in here or
Oh,
sneak
yeah.
in here. It's just that house. I thought the score was really good, not the music part of it, but the score I
Yeah.
thought stood out. It had such a 80s horror score. Thought that was great. Obviously, the practical effects and the makeup are really what I think makes this movie super memorable. Outside that, I would say the story, there was parts of it that were kind of weak. There was like the whole, like I mentioned, the end part where she's like, "We'll escape through this furnace," or "I'll rip this gas pipe out and beat all these demons to death."
Yeah.
And then some of the characters were written kind of over the top. Like Stooge was just like over the top douchey. And they did that a lot in 80s movies.
Yeah.
But this is one of those movies too where you kind of expect that going in, especially in the 80s. This is more of a fun movie, not as much of a serious movie. But I love the ending. I love the old bastard's wife killing him ending. I hated the ending of who survived and how they survived. I really thought that nobody should survive this movie. Thought it was just had that feeling of one of those movies where nobody was going to get out. Or if anybody did, it was going to be Judy. Hated that Roger survived. Hated it. But of course, you survive when you run from literally everything.
Everything.
But yeah, overall, a really fun Halloween movie.
Yeah, to kind of touch on what you were saying in there is when I watched the interview with the director, he had said kind of some stuff similar where he said he read the screenplay and he thought that some of it, didn't add up. Like he was basically like, how can the demons make all the doors slam and make them lock Judy in, but then they can't unlock the door at the end when they're hiding when she has the gas pipe. So he said what he did was originally Judy was dressed as Little Red Riding Hood, and he actually changed her costume to Alice in Wonderland to give that idea that just like in Alice in Wonderland, anything goes. There's really no real life logic put on what's going on here. And it's just interesting to see that he kind of recognized the same thing and he actually tried to do something to make that a little more tolerable.
Yeah, I give him a A for effort, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it makes sense what he was said there, but it's just not like super obvious either.
Yeah, so that is our opinions and our coverage on Night of the Demons. I definitely want to do the second one. Angela is in it. And once again, we thank you guys for listening. Please give us a follow or like if you enjoy the show. Check out the website and check out our socials. Tell a friend, a family member, or the weird girl who is into witchcraft and stuff about the show. We hope to see you next time. Any last words?
That's how you lure me into part 2. You let me know that the hot witchy goth girl's gonna be in it. Yeah, I'm sold.
You can't take this bitch anywhere, I swear. Wrong button. You can't even find it now.
How many times have you done this?
I don't know.